Yo, 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 what is going on, IK Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are back again, bringing you, man, I just got a nice little pump in. Feels so Gucci right now. And today, we're going to be giving you an update on ahead of the developer meeting. Right, so there's a few things I'm going to touch on. Again, with respect, I'm not really going to be showing any kind of screenshots, but I am going to give you an update and let you know, one, who is included in the meeting, right, the day that it's going to happen on, a little bit of what the format is, right? We're going to kind of be speaking broadly and vaguely. We're not going to really be giving away specifics, or at least too many, but I do at least want to give you all an update, right? Because one of the promises I made to you, the community. And of course, before I dive too far in, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell if you want to join our Discord, pin, comment, description. Bam! Okay, that was pretty fast. I should do that from now on. Whew, mouthful. Let me get some water. Re-energize. Let's get it. Okay, so we are going to, like I said, I'm going to touch on and stick to the promises that I and others made when we said, we're going to make sure that, like, for example, the people that signed the petition, right, the people that backed that, myself, Lily, and Jez, others did as well, but as far as kind of being the core group there that went about doing that and kind of drafting up what to post there, I know I've worked with Lily a lot as well on that, just more so out of everyone that was involved, and it has been an absolute pleasure working with her, and she is such a joy, someone to talk to. I feel like really, really kind of gets big macro and micro perspectives on game-wide issues. And again, even being able to hear from players like Jestar, who has such a great understanding of the kind of cost to value ratio on when it comes to any event that you have. And I'm just focusing on like the specialist portions here. When you're spending on any kind of an event, being able to kind of hear his insight has really been, for me, truly rewarding. Because again, I don't really, again, for anyone who knows, right, us in content, right, we get vouchers to spend. But for me, I don't really spend like that. And so being able to kind of hear the theories behind, the analysis behind, comparing bundles and other things in the game is fantastic. It really has allowed for me to kind of dive a little bit more into that knowledge base and that pool. So that's been absolutely fantastic. Now, with where we are at currently, so the meeting right now is going to be taking place on March 23rd. That is tomorrow. And the people who are involved, so they actually have been adding more people today, shockingly, given it's the 22nd. I'll read you the list of at least all the people, I'll just say that I can see, right? And I'm just going to stick it to reps and people that are going to be speaking, not mentioning anyone, mods or anyone from the team, right? So we're just going to keep it to that. So obviously myself, I'm there. Kaneki, I don't know if I should say obviously myself, but I am there. Kaneki is there. Kevin is there. Boss Baby. Let me see. Dandel Lemon, I think. Jestar, Destin is there. Konga is there. Lily Lay is there. Ray is there. Shout out to my boy right there with the, I'm forgetting right now what the anime is called, but he's got the GIF right now in his picture, and it is Demon Slayer? There we go. Took a minute for me to remember. Samsung, who from what I hear is like the Korean representative. There is Shadow King, Zealous, my boy got added there, and I think then there's Chunhua. And I'm sure I'm probably butchering that. I think someone else said they go off a different name. I'm just going off what and then the Ravenger. I don't want to miss anyone currently. So those are the people. I think let me count real quick to let you know. So there's 1, 2, let me see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's at least 14 people I can see right now that are there. Like I said, they added a few more today. There's a chance they might add maybe a few more before the meeting tomorrow, but there's 14 reps. I think I had listed it on the Discord as well, where some of them are press officers and then some of them are what I would consider just to be contributing community members. And so I think that part in itself has been great to see there be a little split. Now, what I'm going to say as far as what the format is, right? So the format that we're familiar with is that the meeting might last a couple hours. There's going to be an opportunity for players, for each person to ask, from what they said, 1 to, I think, 3 questions or 2 to 3 questions. So it's kind of going to go in order of each person there can kind of ask their question. It goes to the next person question, right? Question and or feedback, right? Feedback, I should say question, feedback, suggestion, right? But everyone's going to have like an equal turn. I imagine it's going to do like one round of each person does their first, and there'll be another round where everyone does their second, and then possibly third depending on time. There's a chance that we might hear about new and upcoming content, right? New future things that could come. We'll have opportunities to maybe get some clarifications on things, possibly also hear from the devs and the people there themselves on what their thought processes are, possibly maybe ask us questions to dive deeper into some things that we're talking about. So within that, I'm excited for that hopeful potential. Now, personally, I will say, and this is me respectfully saying it, I just think there's too many people here, right? This is something that has been mentioned. I know I was talking to Lily and a few others about this. And that's not to say, and let me be very clear here, that is not in the same breath as saying that they should limit or we should limit who's giving feedback or suggestions. But the challenge is that the more people that you add, the more people you have to then make time out for, right? So an example would be if, let's just say we have 60 minutes, right? And we have 15 people that are in the room, right? Each person asks a question, right? And let's just assume that the question, the answer, the response, and the continued dialogue each takes a minute to do, right? That means that gives you 4 opportunities to 1, ask a question, 2, get a response, and then 3, either ask a follow-up or answer to a follow-up question, and then the last person to say their piece. That really isn't long enough, in my opinion, for a sustained, efficient conversation or dialogue to possibly delve or dive deep into a good understanding, right? Where both sides or the side that's on the receiving end can get a good impression of the direction that the deliverer, in this case, the person giving the feedback, suggestion, or asking the question, is coming from. And, I think, don't get me wrong, right? And I will say this, one of the things that was mentioned that does give me a little hope is that there may be an opportunity to have future conversations, right? Depending. This is something that was mentioned there on the roundtable discussion, the server that they created, is that there could be an opportunity to have more of these type of roundtable discussions and meetings with the team in the future, depending on how this goes. So, my focus right now is to really try. And so I'll give an example. One of the things we did is, or I should say, one of the things I did was create a separate server, right? I invited a bunch of the current reps at the time to that. And that was mainly so we could create a topic channel for, or a specific channel for each main topic, right? For example, there's things in there that we have with a few people that have joined. For example, like Arena, Contention of Relics, Illusion Battlefield, Kingdom Development, Kingdom Events, King of the Hill, KVK, Migration, Mysterium, Quality of Life, Server Merges, Spending and Bundles, Throne of the Supreme. So we kind of broke up the game into at least what I hoped I did a good enough job in kind of identifying the main areas of the game. And that was mainly so we could have focused conversations on specific topics. And more so really just to kind of provide initial thoughts, questions you might ask, or just general feedback on it. And then we can take that and have a more concentrated discussion on the roundtable server, right? And so I suggested this to the roundtable server, and they did actually add a few of these channels there. And I appreciate that because I think it allows for, if the devs are looking to take anything away from the chats, having individual topic channels allows for a more healthy and more efficient way of discussing those specific things, right? By being honed in on that topic. Instead of if you just have one main chat channel and then everyone's talking about 10 to 15 to 20 different topics, right? You could have 5 posts of one thing, 7 posts of another, 20 posts in, now they're on a third topic, and it's just, you can really never follow it, right? Because it can change so fast and rapidly. So breaking it up into specific topic channels was something I had asked the rep on the server to do. And again, very kind enough, they did. And I think that has helped some of the discussion, if not a lot of the discussion, for the few channels that have been added so far. So that's great to see. And my hope is that again, now the devs, instead of having to filter through one just long wall of text channel list, now they can go into specific channels and look at these individual topics and be able to read a focused discussion on it. So again, I'm happy for that. And I think at this point, my hope really is on what we may get out of it. Because the thing is, we have no idea what to expect, right? We don't know if we're going to get a lot of back and forth from the devs, if it's going to be kind of more, for the most part, like one-sided, where we'll ask our question, they'll give an answer, or we give some feedback and a suggestion, and they just say, thank you very much, for it, kind of a thing, but there's not really any follow-up maybe where they might want to get more. And then the other challenge as well is, because there's kind of like a lot of cooks or a lot of chefs in the kitchen right now, the one thing that I want to say I fear, but I just hope doesn't happen, where you have people asking redundant questions, maybe they're giving redundant pieces of feedback, right? The challenge is that, one of the things some of us were trying to do was to work with everyone on the team so we can publicly list what those questions are. And that's something I'm actually working on now and today, at least in whatever capacity I can, by posting there and saying, hey, here's as many questions as I was able to find that people asked. Here's who asked the question, so it has a source credit. And then here's some of the main topics that, might be good just to keep in mind of focusing on. Right, because again, right, when you're giving feedback, and this is something a few other people have mentioned as well, right, when you're giving feedback, you don't necessarily want to, or even if you're just asking a question, you don't necessarily want to overwhelm the devs or the people that are coming to the meeting, where we're basically just, if we did, right, just told them, hey, this is everything you need to fix with the game. Even if it's not worded that way, it can be perceived that way when you're on the receiving end. And so, that's the part that I really hope, which again can be hard to anticipate when you have a lot of different individuals with a lot of different personalities, age ranges, the way that they speak, the way they conduct themselves, the tone that they give. And so what I would say is that if you are a rep, if you are someone here who's on the round table discussion, my number one piece of advice is, right, really think about how you're wording what you're going to ask or the feedback or suggestion you're going to give. Be very aware of the tone, the words used, how you're stringing and putting your sentences together, so it doesn't come off as some kind of aggressive or passive-aggressive way, where it will allow for the receiver to better interpret what you're giving them in a positive light, right, rather than maybe a cautious or a negative light in worst case. With that being said, that's pretty much it for me on this one. I am going to be bringing you guys updates, right? Again, I will, however, I'm not sure exactly what time the meeting, I have to double check, but I will be posting another video tomorrow on how the meeting went. And of course, finding out if there's anything specific that we are able to say, maybe some things that we might be able to show. And of course, I'll ask, as we always do, to find out what we might be approved to do, right, or to say and show. But I at least will be giving my kind of broad, vague update, right, that is obviously respectfully within reason on how the meeting went, and kind of giving you some play-by-plays throughout the duration. So be on the lookout for that. I'm excited, to say the least, just with having the opportunity to go and speak with the dev team. The fact that I and others were chosen, I think it's very gracious and appreciative. Or I should say gracious of them, me being appreciative, and I hope others are as well. And I think the biggest thing is that I really want to make sure that for everyone that signed that petition, right, we definitely at least mention those at minimum and try to provide some reasonings for those. And then more than that, really try and present a wholesome view on how the game could arguably, for at least many, that I would say are active on the Discord, for people that pay attention, if you're on the fence about whatever decision you may make about your involvement in the game, that we can at least give some hope to those players, and to a degree as well myself. I love Infinity Kingdom as much as when I first started playing it, I never would have left the other game I was playing to come and play IK full time if I didn't really believe in the game. And even though that belief has dwindled over the past few updates, as I'm sure others have as well, because they have been public about it, or I should say you have been public about it for those that have, there is still what I would say is hopeful optimism. And that's what I'm banking on. And I'm hoping that this opportunity could potentially be a first step. So, okay, that's it for me. Again, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. That is it. Until next time, I'll catch you later.